Okay, now it's time to start, and we wish all you participants welcome to our last webinar. We have had two different webinars before the third one, and today we will talk more about the strategic use of social media. The trainer Piritta Seppälä is joining us today, and you may ask questions via chat should you wish make any questions when she's presenting, and she will then reply to your questions in the end of her presentation. The microphones are muted due to the fact that we are recording this webinar, and you can also listen to it afterwards later on, and the link will be added into our website. Kindly note that we will have one short pause in the halfway of the webinar. I would still like Mrs. Heidi Vartiainen to join us for a couple of words. If you have your microphone ready, Heidi, you can say hello all to the participants.
Yes. Okay, I hope that everybody can hear me and see me. I turned my video camera on for a little while. So also I would like to say and welcome you warmly to the webinar of strategic use of social media, how to create a plan that works. My name is Heidi Vartiainen, and I'm one of the representatives of W Power project team here in Joensuu, Eastern Finland. This webinar is provided by the W Power project and will be presented by Viestintä Piritta Limited. W Power project stands for Empowering Women Entrepreneurs in Sparsely Populated Northern Communities. The project itself works with women entrepreneurs in sparsely populated areas across northern and Arctic regions. And the aim of the project is to encourage women to set up, develop, and grow their businesses. And we are very happy to present you our trainer, Piritta Seppälä, a communication specialist from Hämeenlinna, Finland. Piritta has been running Viestintä Piritta Limited, or Piritta Communications, for over 10 years. And yes, once again, you are all warmly welcomed. And without any further ado, Piritta, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Satu and Heidi. Now it's my time to talk to you. So I just check once again that you can hear me. So everything is okay. If Satu or Heidi, you could add even to the chat. Okay, great.
Yep.
Okay, so all is good. So my name is Piritta, and it's nice to be here again and to take over this webinar with you. And today we are talking about social media and strategic use of it. So I don't know, let's go and begin. I'm wearing red, as you can see, because it's December. So this is a theme costume for me today. But as Heidi said, I'm representing Viestintä Piritta Communications, or Viestintä Piritta Limited, and I'm talking to you from Hämeenlinna. And I think that's pretty much about me. We can continue to the theme of today's webinar. Welcome all. It's nice to have you here. And as Heidi just said, you can write to the chat your questions all during the webinar. I will go through the questions before the pause and also later before we finish the webinar. So it's 1.5 hours and we have a small pause in between. Okay, so let's begin. And I will close my camera during my presentation and put it on later, but welcome and enjoy. Ask as many questions as you wish. I will share my screen and you will get the presentation material later. So if you get any ideas out of it now, so you can write down the ideas concerning your own company and your own projects. Thank you for everybody who answered also the survey beforehand. I got some information about your situations from there. I know already now that there are many kinds of situations what you have and different kinds of companies and projects. So remember to take these tips and things and put them into your situation. Here, let's go straight to the content. I will go through the social media strategy with different kind of parts that concern the planning of social media use. It is very important to do some kind of plan so that you know where you should be, with whom do you talk, and what do you say to the people who you want to reach. So the presentation goes within kind of a social media strategy circle, and we go first, we start with the goals and setting the goals for your social media, because it's the most important thing for everyone, so that you do the most important things in social media, because the social media is so huge area, so that you can do there whatever you want to, and there are so many possibilities that no one can use them all. So when you have a concrete goal for your social media communication and marketing, it is easier to choose the channels and easier to choose the ways to do the content. So we begin with the goals and setting the goals, and then we continue to the target groups, and from there we continue to the channels. As said, it is very important to find the right channels that suit best for you, because otherwise you might be reaching out people from a kind of a wrong channels. So we talk a little bit about the channel choosing, and then we continue to the content. And as said, we have only 1.5 hours to go through all the social media and planning and strategic use of it. So what comes to content, I give you a few certain tips. And remember, you can always ask more. So I try to give you the answers what you ask. Then from the content, we go through also like the timing, the scheduling your social media content publishing, and then we continue to analyzing the social media, so that you can use different kinds of analyzing tools in social media channels, so that you know what works and what doesn't work. We also talk about algorithms, which is very important thing to know, so that you can see it from the analyzing results when, for example, some kind of algorithm changes in certain social media channels. And then we close the circle actually to the point where we started. So as we set the goal, we have to think about how to measure if we have reached the goal. So that's the whole circle, and we go through it now. So as said, try to compare these ideas and things what I present to your situation where you stand at with your company or organization, and try to pick up the most important things to you to use. I begin with this triangle of 3 circles, because this is the first circle thing that you should think when you go to social media. It all begins with the plan and strategy. And even though it sounds like a bit, how to say it, it sounds a bit that there's a lot of work to do when you do the strategy, that it is a really big thing to do. But I remind you that it's not. It's just a paper that you create that leads you to do the right things, the possible right things, so that you can use social media in a way that it helps you, that the time that you put to social media pays back. And that's the reason why we do the strategy and a plan, how we proceed and execute our plan in social media. So we begin with planning, and then we go to the execution of the plan. So the plan that you write, it can be one paper, and you can do it as a tool for yourself, which gives you the right information about what to do in social media. So the execution of the plan is the thing that we probably all do already now somehow. But when we have planned what we do so it's more profitable, and then the left round down there, that would be the third circle that we pretty often might forget. And that's the measuring and developing our communication. So I suggest for you to take it like a routine that you all the time that you check out how have you succeeded with your plans and communication and marketing? How has your content managed? Have you reached any people? And then you start thinking that what has worked and what hasn't worked. And if something hasn't really worked, then you should think why. Because this thinking helps you to create content all the time, to develop content, better content that works better. Because the social media is ever-changing environment. It's the area where the algorithms change all the time, and we don't know that. We don't know the changes until we see what works and what doesn't. So use all these three circles. So then you can use social media in a way that it gives you some profit as well. Think about the idea that when you plan well, then you know what you should do. And when you all the time analyze your results and you all the time develop under these results, you develop your plan, then the time that you give to social media pays back. So that's the reason why these three circles are all the circles are important. But the main circle that we go through is this one. I'm sorry that it might look a little bit weird from different parts. It's because there's Finnish under under the words, and I a little bit fixed it so that I was able to put these English words on top. But let's continue with this anyway. So this circle gives us 10 different parts that we should focus on when we start planning social media. And don't be afraid, it's not that bad. When you think about these things one time, when you go through the whole circle and you think about these things, then it helps you to create the strategy and plan all the time. I mean, it helps you that thinking this through once, it's easier the second time. But we begin with the big why. So we begin thinking about the goals. In a survey that we sent you beforehand, in a survey there were some results, and some of you said that you don't actually have goals for social media, or that you want to learn about how to make a strategy, but you don't really know how to set the goals. So we begin with this one. So the good question when making social media goals for you and for your company, the question why is in a big role. But it can be like you can think about what are the things that you want to get out from social media. But before you can set the social media goals, you should be thinking what are the goals of your organization. What are the goals, the most important things at this point in your organization and in your company? So think about, let's say that you can now do a short task. If you have a pen and a paper, or you can write also to your computer, you can write down what are the most important goals concerning your organization or your company at this moment. You can think about this. Write down a few things what comes to your mind first. At this point of the year, what are the most important things concerning your company or your organizations? Write this down. I give you like half a minute for this. And now if you wrote down some big goals for your organization or your company, then you can start thinking what things you can start reaching out from social media concerning these big goals. And this is the idea how to start planning the social media. It always has to be linked into your company or organization's goals. And when we start to think about the social media goals, then we first think about the big ideas behind the company and organization. So if you wrote down the big things for your company, then think about what things you should or you could reach out from social media concerning goals that you wrote down. So now you can write down how can social media help you to reach those big goals. I give you a few 20 or 30 seconds to do this. And from here, we continue making the social media goals. So you can now start thinking, for example, one thing that could be the biggest thing for social media. Let's say that you pick one goal that you could get out from social media concerning your company. It could be like, for example, increasing Christmas sales, or it could be trying to find new customers, or it could be bringing out joy for people, or it could be like sharing tips for people to what to do on holidays during the coronavirus season. So pick one goal that you think that you could use for social media, and you can think about the next few slides about your own goal. So I'll give you a few seconds, a little bit time after each slide, so you can think about your own goals and try to create them as concrete as possible. You will see my example soon, what I will use. But anyway, there is very big thing to know why you use social media. There's no sense to be in social media just because we have to be there, or because all the people are there, and not even all the people are there, but like many people are there. It's very important to know why we are there. Why do we go there with our company, and what do we want to reach out? So think about the why. And after you know some answer to this why social media, then you should start thinking to whom, who do we want to reach out from social media? And that is the answer to the question, what comes next? What do we need to do there? But first, why social media? The more concrete goal you can set for social media, the better goal you have. It's so to make a social media plan that really works, the one thing is that you have a goal that you can measure. So let's say that you want to, for example, if you want to increase your sales in social media, then you should have measurement and indicators that show that social media has helped to increase your sales this Christmas, for example. So try to create concrete goals that you know that help you also to measure if you have reached your goals or not. Let's begin. We start concreting. So if you now have your own goal, you can start thinking about this. Very often when I ask the organizations with whom I work, I ask that why are you in social media? What do you want to get out from social media? Why do you use social media? Very often I get the answer, we want to increase our visibility, or we want to increase our sales numbers, or we want to reach our target group. So these are the answers when I ask, why are you in social media, and what are your goals? Increasing the visibility. And this is my example, what I use to help to understand how to make the goal concrete. Because the reason why we are in social media is not to increase the visibility. The reason is behind that thing. The reason and the goal for social media is the answer to the question, why do we want to increase the visibility? Or what do we want to sell more? So that is the thing. Or why do we want to reach our target group? What happens behind there? And that is the key question. Why? So increasing the visibility, it's not the goal, but the goal is why we want to increase the visibility. So let's continue. Let's say increasing the visibility is the goal that we have written down. So we have to make it more concrete, so we know what to do, who to reach, and how to measure if we have managed or not. So let's say that there is a company that has a shop, for example, handicraft shop. But now during the COVID virus, we don't have the customers coming to the shop anymore at this point. So it means that we have created an online shop which we haven't had before. So that's behind this example. A handicraft shop that can't do sales as much as before because the people are not coming to the shop. So they have made an online shop, and now the thing is that we have to, this company needs to bring out the information that there is this online shop, so the people know that they will come to the online shop and keep on buying. Nevertheless, they cannot come to the shop itself. So that increasing the visibility of the company, that goal changes to the form that is very concrete. It might be longer goal written down, but it's more concrete, and it gives the information what we want to do. So that could be using social media to tell target groups about our new online shop, so the people keep on buying. So that's the key. We tell in a goal why we want to increase the visibility. So always concrete your goals, make them understandable by adding something. Why? Increasing the visibility so that something happens. Increasing the visibility so something happens. So explain what is behind. And this example will follow me during the whole webinar. And remember that you can ask questions. If you wrote down some of your own goals for your social media use, and if you try to make them more understandable, more concrete, so you can, if you wish, so you can write down some of your better explained goals to the chat. I could check them before the pause that we have. And if you have any questions about creating the goals, you can also ask about that. But as we have a little bit time, so we continue from here to the second part of the social media strategy. That is the who. So as we now know that we have, I'm talking about this example company, which doesn't exist, but it's an example. So then now we have this handicraft shop that has gone online, and they now know why they use social media. So they use at this point they use social media to reach out their customers, so that the customers will know that they are now online, and so the customers will shop online in an online shop. So the target groups is the second thing to think about. So when you know your goal, then you write down who are the people you want to reach concerning your goal. So that is the very important question. Under every goal for social media, we might have different target groups, and there might be more target group, like 1 or 3 target groups per each goal. And now I'm talking about this online shop, this handicraft online shop case. So this handicraft shop has 2 target groups, so they have to think about it. Who do we want to reach? And they know that their target groups are young people and also their parents. So they have 2 main target groups. So that is very important thing, that you think about who really are your target groups, the people you want to reach, because they will be the people who are showing you the way to choose the right channels for your social media. So think about first about the target groups. Write down under each goal, who do you want to reach? So now if you wrote down a goal for your social media, think about a few seconds, who are the people you need to reach? And write these down. After writing down the target groups, then you can start thinking, how do they differ from each other? Is there something like the age? What's the age? What's the geography, where the people live, who they are, what things they are interested about concerning you, and how can you find that? How can you what can you think that what do these people probably do for their living, and so on? What are the big differences between every group? And then the third thing to think about the target groups is, what do these different target groups and people, what do they want to hear about our products and services? And what do they need from us? So think about with their mind, go to their mind and think about, what does this young person need to know from our handicrafts? What handicrafts are exactly for these young people, and what handicrafts should we tell about to their parents? So this is the idea, to think about what do they want from us, and that helps you to start planning a little bit the content that you make. But before we go to the content, we have to go to the channels. But few things first about the target groups. This case that I'm using during this webinar is this, so it's the handicraft shop that has gone online, and the goal for social media at this point for the company is to make people aware of the online shop and make them shop there. And as said, they have 2 target groups that they already know that these 2 target groups are the main target groups we have. So it's from 13 to 16-year-old youngsters, both boys and girls, let's say, in this company. And then the second target group is the parents. And as the Christmas season is coming, or actually here, so this target group 2, the parents, will be also very important, because they might be the people who give money for the youngsters so that they can buy online, or maybe the young people cannot buy, but it's their parents who buy, so the parents are linked to the youngs very closely. And also it's important for this company to reach the parents, because they might be the ones who are buying the Christmas presents for the youngsters. So that way you can also think that if you have a difficult target group like young people, they are in social media quite difficult target group, because they change their ways to communicate, and they change the channels they use. That's the reason why you can think that who are the people close to the young people that we can affect, or who we can reach via the channels that we already use, for example. And this is an example about this. that if we might not reach the young people, we can reach their parents. So this way you can think about the things with different kinds of target groups and people, how to reach them, not really the people themselves, but someone close to them. But that's about the target groups, and now as you might have also thought about who you need to reach concerning your goal, then we start to think about the channels. And this is, as said, in social media, it's really difficult sometimes to choose the right channels because people change their ways to communicate very often, and the younger you are, the more likely you are to change the channels. So if we now go, let's say, if we need to reach the young people, and then we are like, okay, let's go to TikTok because we have heard that young people are using TikTok. So we might reach the young people there now, but then in a year might come some other channel that gets the young people's attention, and they might they might choose another channel to move on. So the young people are difficult because of this. But overall, no matter who you try to reach, there's changing all the time. So that is also one reason why it is very important to try to analyze your social media communications and marketing all the time. That way you can be aware of what kind of changes happens with your people in social media, but also with the channels, because the channels are changing. The channels are changing their ways, the possibilities to use them. There are new content possibilities coming on all the time, and also the channels might be creating some kind of restrictions in different ways. So that's why it's important to try to choose a channel that suits you the best. The channel that if you check, for example, if you think about all the target groups you need to reach, so try to choose the channels in a way that the channels are channels that you reach as many target groups as possible, and try to be creative to reach some other target groups. But don't try to be in 10 channels a little bit poorly, but choose one, do it well. That's always better than 10 channels and not well. Because there's always the time limit that we have. I mean, the time limit comes from life. If we have a 24/7, so we cannot use all of that time to do marketing and communications, and not even a little bit of that time. But in this slide, I have explained few of the channels that are pretty much used in different countries. And now remember that different countries have different kinds of cultures when it comes to communication as well. That's why I'm not showing you any certain statistics, but I have some links for you where you can try to reach and check out your own country's statistics of how people in your country are using social media. Because, for example, let's say the WhatsApp here in this picture, which is not really a social media channel, but it's here because, for example, in Finland, people are using WhatsApp even more than Facebook or YouTube at this point. But if you compare this to Sweden, the statistics is completely different. So the WhatsApp, for example, in Sweden isn't that much used as in Finland. So there are differences, but the most important thing is to know how people use different channels in your country, and then how people overall use the social media. So here are a few things what comes to these channels. Let's begin with the Facebook. And at the same time as I go through these channels, you can also think the two things that we already went through. The goal, what do you want to reach out from the social media? And especially the second question. I'll go through these channels, and Satu, just write me if the line cuts down, so let me know by WhatsApp.
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, but what I was telling about the Facebook and all the channels, it's very important for you to think how people use these channels and how does your goal, your products and your services fit to these channels, into this area, how people these channels use. Because for example, this handicraft shop case, they could fit well to Facebook. They have some products that the people could be easily going through in Facebook. But if they decided to go to LinkedIn, which is a professional networking platform, those products might not be the best things to take out there. The LinkedIn, for example, that's for professional networking. It's a lot of personal branding that people are doing there. They're networking worldwide, the different professionals, and also it's filled with content that concerns your skills and, for example, your work. So that's a work-based network. Of course, there has been more and more also like posts, especially this year, this coronavirus year. There's been also some posts concerning about our personal life, but it's still mostly the work and the skills that we have. But then, for example, the Twitter on the left side between Facebook and LinkedIn, the Twitter, then again, that will be a channel where all the tweets are public, and also it's a lot of news that people are sharing there, and also about the social and economic discussion. So it's talking about things that happen at this moment, and anyone can follow anybody. But again, this case about handicrafts, handicraft sales, that wouldn't be that would not be the #1 channel for this company. But for example, if you wanted to bring out your company's the knowledge and the professionality somehow and become internationally known, maybe the Twitter could be your channel. Then if we go to the right side, on top there's Instagram. So again, the Instagram, there has been same kind of results in statistics than on Facebook. So that there might be coming the same effect that the young people won't be taking the Instagram as their first channel, but they are still there. So it's a little bit, you could say, a middle-aging channel or middle-age-ish channel, but there is still a lot of young people which you can reach from there. It's all about the visuality, so it's all about the pictures and short videos or longer videos, and how people use it. Those words, free time and leisure, could be that. Also kind of a dreaming or dream traveling during these times, as you cannot travel that much as before. And what comes, for example, to this handicraft case, they could use, I think Instagram would be their best channel to show what they have and what they have done and what kind of products they have for Christmas. Then about those two young people channels, Snapchat has been for a channel for young people for a long time. There's also older people and also those who have been young when they have started in Snapchat for over 5 years ago. They are 5 years older than then. But then Snapchat is pretty much nowadays like kind of a Snapchat, I mean the WhatsApp, that you can chat with your friends, but you just use the Snapchat's way to do that. So it's kind of a personal communication channel for many people. And many people who think, many companies and organizations who find stories as a good content for them, they might be going more like to Instagram to do the stories than to Snapchat, because on Instagram they might have already a bigger audience than in Snapchat, and also in Instagram there are more people than on Snapchat overall. But then the left down TikTok. That is this year's big riser, big star in social media, at least in Finland. But I could say that also globally, even though there are those there has been those China-USA discussions between Trump and China, for example. But that's an own case. But anyway. Young people have adapted TikTok as their channel during this year a lot. But you should think that if you want to, if you have heard that your target group, the young people, are using TikTok, then you could start thinking, do we have resources to use the TikTok as well, and go there and try how it works. But then you can also think about the chance to use Instagram instead of TikTok, because Instagram has now the same kind of content, the Reels, which is the same kind of thing than the TikTok videos. So you should think about between these two channels again. So as said, if you already have Instagram and you have reached your target group there, somehow then, and you could have video material that fits to this TikTok video form, then you could try to use it first in Instagram, and then think about, should we use it also in TikTok, and this way continue overall. And what comes to videos, you should think about YouTube also. Let's say, for example, if you have videos that you want to place to some place, to put to some place where you always can find them, also publicly, then the YouTube could be one place. So open a YouTube channel and put your videos to YouTube. So as Google owns YouTube, so when people are Googling things that are on your videos, then the Google might bring out your video in a Google results instead of your company page, because they're on YouTube as Google owns the YouTube, so the videos come up in the results as well. So what comes to this example, this handicraft shop, if I were there, I could use Instagram, and if I know that I will do some video material, I could go to YouTube and also use the Facebook, as we know that we already had the Facebook page. So think about how people use this, and who use what channel, and then pick your channel. As said, there might be you, especially you who are watching the recording later on, you might be from different countries, so I didn't bring out different statistics from each country. I brought only one statistics, which is like the worldwide most used social media platforms from October this year, and this you can see in this slide. But in the next slide, I have 5 links that you can use to try to find more information concerning your own country. And those of you who are in Finland, you can always use Harto Pönkäs blog Lehmätkin lentäis, which is a very good source for statistics on social media in Finland. And I can write it down to you during the break in a chat. But before the break, one more slide. Here is the idea that the example about this shop, this handicraft shop that has the online shop, and they want to get people to shop there, and their target groups was young people and their parents. So they are what the channels that they already have a Facebook page and Instagram. So they decide that they can use Instagram for both these target groups, but they do Facebook they put the content that is for the parents, but they do not put the content that is for the young, because they have seen that the young people are not on Facebook anymore. But then they have a young person working for the company who already knows how to use TikTok. So they decide to try and test if the TikTok works for them. So this way they create their plan. So from the goal to target groups to the channels that the target groups use, and from where we can reach them. And this way we have come the three, I would say three most important parts of the social media strategy. And now it would be time, I check if we have any questions at this point, and then we have a few minute break. How's it going to be here? Is there any questions here?
There seems not to be any questions, but of course you could still make the questions if you would like to before we start the break, or during the break, or...
Well, let's say it's 10 to 4, so I'd say we have maximum 10 minutes break. We could continue at 4. So if there's no questions at this point, I think, well, the next part is the content, and it's the longest part. So I say, let's do it so that we have a break at this point, and then we continue at 4. And if you have any questions, you can write them down to the chat. Okay, so let's move on then to the content. I end this voting here. Okay, so the next part begins at this very moment as I share my screen. And as you might have been thinking now about the goals for your social media use, and also the target groups, and also the channels which are chosen via the target groups, and the channels that you already use, then we start thinking about the content. So the fourth part of the social media strategy, strategy circle. So what to say to the people who we want to reach on the channels that we are using, so that we can reach our goals. So this is the time to think about the content. So the channels that we use, they give us a chance about the content types, because there might be many types of content that we can make. For example, videos, live videos, stories, or pictures, or link sharing, or reels. So there are so many types of content that we can pick the most important content that fits to our target group and to the products or services we want to give and show to the people. So go through the channel content frame, all the content types that the channels have where you are, and then start to think, what could you tell on these ways to your target groups, and make the content interesting to the people, exactly to the people you want to reach from that channel, and try to activate people to do the things you want them to do. So here we are in the middle of the social media planning, from the goals to the target group to the channels, and to the possibilities the channels give us to do the content. So pick the best content to your products and services, and add that to your target group. And remember that it's all about the content. It's all about the content, and only via the good content you can reach the people you want to find. Because when you make content that is meant for some certain target groups, it better goes to the point. But if you try to reach all the people in the world, then you cannot talk to them, because it's too overall. But talk to certain target groups. Be bold to do content that is meant to certain people, not all the people. Also about the advertising is very useful, and it's very much used also in social media. For example, in Facebook and on Instagram, there are loads and loads of ads, so that the companies and organizations are paying for example, to Facebook, so that the Facebook shows the ads, the content to the people they want to reach. What comes to the ads is the one important thing is that it's all about the content in ads as well. So make good content to the people, targeted to the people you want to reach, and make them ads. I mean, it's the good content is good also for advertising, but the bad content doesn't turn good even if you pay for that. But what comes to the advertising in social media, it's all about that do good targeted target groups for advertising, and try to find the things that your people are interested of in Facebook and on Instagram, and show the advertised content to these certain target groups. The targeting is possible in the Facebook and Instagram ads as well on the other platforms. But from the advertising to the content, here's the same frame that we had before. The goal, the target groups, the channels. And what comes to the channels, so here are the few examples about how this scenario could work. To the young people, this company decides on Instagram, take pictures of their products, make stories that are getting interest that the young people are watching, where they, for example, show how they make certain handicrafts, and then they do funny reels about how people are using their handicrafts. Then to TikTok, they place the same kind of videos than to the Reels, or they use the same video for the both platforms. But to the other target group, to the parents, on Facebook page, they share links to the online shop, so that and to the links they are bringing information to the parents that buy now good Christmas presents for your youngsters. And they kind of talk to the parents, as in Instagram and on TikTok, they were talking to the young people. And that is the thing what you should think about also in the advertising. Talk to the certain people, not to the all people. On Facebook page, this company also tries the questions, which is possible to do on Facebook page, and they try to make the adults, the parents, to think what kind of gifts they should give to their youngsters. And on Instagram, they are using for the parents, to the Instagram feed, they are posting videos and the pictures that they are also advertising to the adults, to the parents, so that they could be aware of the products what the parents could be buying for their for their children for the Christmas. So this way you could also try to make your own plan. So the social media strategy could go this way as well. It doesn't have to be the circle or a long written paper. It could be one page going this way down. But about the content, try to be creative. This is a picture from Instagram of the Crazy Granny Designs, which is a company that makes different kind of jewelry and handicrafts as well in Eastern Finland. So Crazy Granny has these certain colors, and the colors are there in the pictures. So think about the feed and how you look like in your pictures, and try to bring out your products and services in a way they really are. This Crazy Granny has also an Instagram feed. If you go and see, they have she's been putting, it's a one-woman company, so she's been taking pictures of her customers, also using these earrings and stuff. So be creative and use different kind of options that these channels are giving you. Here's the same example as last time when we were talking about the blogs. And this guest house Lauri and the handicraft factory shop is from Rovaniemi, Finland. And on these are both screenshots from their Facebook page. But the TikTok video on the left side is made on TikTok, but it's also shared on Facebook. So this is the way that you can multiple the information between different channels. But also here it's the TikTok video that has been made on TikTok, but it's been uploaded to Facebook, not shared, but uploaded. And that way it's the Facebook kind of video, and it works better that way. And then the right way, on the right side, that's a video that shows how to make handicrafts. A short, happy, funny video, people making handicrafts. So be creative, bring out what you do in your company and how does it feel like. And the more human you are, the more people will be interested. People are always interested also about other people. So when you use other people in your content, remember that you need to have the permission. The word disappeared. You need to have a permission for the people you want to publish on social media. There are also a few other examples. If you use Instagram stories as the crazy granny does on the right side, remember that if you have video clips where you talk something, add captions on your videos, because that way people are watching your talked videos even if they are not using voices in their phones. It's also accessible video for all those who cannot hear. And the other example is also from Instagram, and that would be an example about the carousel post. So think about making Instagram posts as here, one by one picture every post, or make stories about the carousel posts. I mean, you can put from 1 to 10 pictures in one post. So use many pictures in the same post and create some kind of a story. In that case, that is kind of a slideshow. It's a mini training as that way, brought out that way. So be creative when you are going through the different chances that these and contents that these channels are offering. You can also ask people questions. For example, in Instagram stories, you can give the questions to people, and you can also answer these questions. So use different kinds of ways to use these channels. And also find out if the channels are helping you to connect with your people. If you reach people from Facebook and they come to your Facebook page, do as the Lauri Guesthouse does and bring out the chat to the people. So that way you can activate people to be in touch with you. Also, you can use the Instagram chat. I mean the direct messages, for example, when people are reacting to your stories, they start a conversation with you. So continue that by answering those people. All these channels are offering a lot of ways to bring out your content, and your products and services. So use those, try different ways to use the social media and test what works and what doesn't work. Also remember to use hashtags, and hashtags are very important. For example, to find hashtags for your own company and own organization, start to use the hashtag and activate also people to use it. For example, if you have let's say a guest house, for example, where the people are coming in. So tell them there, put a poster on the wall with your hashtag and write down there, use our hashtag and tag us this with this tag with this nick, so we and tell how you felt being here. That way, the people who are using social media for their traveling sharing, they will do that. So let people order people, tell people what to do, and they will do. So pick up the hashtags and make people to use it. And from here we go the rest of the part. Timing comes in many parts of the social media channels. It's also part about the algorithm. The algorithm at certain channels is also the one part of the algorithm is that when you post the content, post it during the time when your target group is on that platform and uses it. I mean, this means that, let's say if I want to reach teachers, so I know the teachers, and let's say if I want to reach the teachers on Facebook, and I am sharing them certain tips for their teaching processes. So I know that the teachers are teaching during the daytime, so there's no sense to send the post and target the posts to teachers, let's say in the middle of the day, because I know that they are working then and they are not online. But I should think that when do I do that, before the work or after the work or in the evening? So it could be either before the work, early in the morning, or just after the work day. So this way you can plan when to do your posts that you have decided to do. You can also schedule posts like that they come out tomorrow, next week, or next month. For example, the scheduling is possible easily in Facebook and in Twitter, and also in Instagram if you use, for example, Facebook Creator Studio. Also, you can check different channels analytics to see when your followers are mostly in those channels. But the more important thing to think about is think about your target group and what is your issue that you want to tell them, and think when would those people be mostly interested about to read the thing that you are sharing to them. So that is the most important thing. Then, if the half of the plan here is done, then comes the question, who does it? And sometimes it might be so that you have to take some plans back and remove them from the plan, at least at this point. Because if there are not enough people to do these things, then there's no chance to do them. So think about all the persons who you have who are possible to do these things. For example, in this case of this example of this handicraft shop going online shopping, going online shop, they I told that they have one young person working with them who knows how to use TikTok. So in that case, it goes that way. So think about of all the people that you have there working with you, and if it's only you, then you have to do the plan so that you can proceed it. And remember not to try too much. Pick one channel, do it well, and then if it works and you get more time, then move on to the next one. Don't try to be everywhere and with everybody. Pick your people, pick your issues, pick your channel, and do one well rather than 10 badly. And give responsibility to others as well if there are others. And sometimes if, for example, advertising seems too difficult for yourself, you can also think about buying, for example, advertising campaigns for social media from some outside company. So that's also possible. But one thing which is good to remember about doing the things that you have planned, if there are more people in your company than just yourself, then think about the fact of how you can share the responsibilities. So one does one thing, another does another thing, and the third does the third thing. That way you can share the responsibility and also manage to do more than only a few things. Then, as we are talking about social media, it is very important to remember that you have some sort of a plan for conversation that might begin at your channels. So, if there are many of you who are taking care of your social media content and channels, think about if someone of you could be in charge for following the conversation. So kind of following the conversation, that if someone asks something from you, there could be one person who always takes care of responding. Or if there are many people who are doing the content to your channels, then you can decide that everyone is responsible for their own published content and follow the possible conversation and questions. It's also good to think how fast you reply to the people, and what do you do when you don't know what to answer to the questions. The one good thing would be that if someone asks something difficult, then you could, for example, answer and say, "Hello, thank you for your question. Let me check this out. I will come back to you later on this week," for example. This way you show people that you have seen what they have asked and you have told that you will be answering later. So this is part of your plan as well. But being social is a good thing to remember. I was telling you about the hashtags and a little bit more about the hashtags in a few slides, but this is very important. Remember the heart form in social media channels. Like what the others do. If someone comments something nice about your things and your products and your services, like those comments, at least like. You can also create certain liking plan, which means that you could use half of your time in different social media channels to publish your own content, but the other half use it for searching the content. And this is one certain marketing thing that many organizations do, at least maybe not that much yet in Finland, but more and more in every country, especially in traveling industry. I have noticed it myself. For example, once I was traveling in Australia, and I was having a bus trip from Sydney to Brisbane, I think, or from Brisbane to more north to some surfing city. I think the city was called Surfers Paradise, actually. But anyway, I decided to tweet on my way up there from the bus that, "Yoo-hoo, I'm going to this place." And I think it was in half an hour, that there was a hostel in that small city that tweeted back to me and said, "Welcome to Surfers Paradise. Feel free to visit us if you still don't have any place to stay, you are welcome to visit us, that there are free rooms." And how did they find my tweet? The first thing was that they were searching for certain keywords. They were using keywords in Twitter to search content that was about their area, and that way, with their case, the keyword was was the Surfers Paradise, which I also added as hashtag in my post. So they find my tweet and they answered me. So this way you could find people who are already interested about your products and services, and this way you can like their posts or answer their posts or answer their questions which they have asked. So by searching with the certain hashtags and with the certain keywords, you can find content and people who are already there in your industry with talking about your product, your kinds of products and services. And when you go with your company's profiles and like those people's posts, then you show them that you are there. And also, if someone asks something that you can answer, go and answer. This example is in Finnish, but it's about my niche, which I have, and there's someone is asking about the non-profit organization communication, and I found this from the Facebook group, which was a professional group, and I gave the answer and showed also that person that we have the company and we have the knowledge that you are searching. This way you are not selling, but you are showing that you are there. So search and like people's posts that concern about you. And that's also about the liking plan, which comes also to the keywords, which goes to the hashtags. And then as we have 5 minutes left, we have few other slides left also, and I will go through the analyzing, measuring, and then developing, and these are the last parts of the whole thing. And you will also get the chat, the survey, the feedback survey, so feel free, please fill up the form so we can get the results, the feedback, and make the webinars even better later. But what comes to analyzing is that we talked about measuring the goals in the beginning, but analyzing is the thing that you can do in social media channels. These are the screenshots from my Finnish Facebook page and also the Twitter. But Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, they all have the analyzing tools that give you information how your content has been going on. So check out your content numbers. How many people have seen your posts? How many people have reacted? How many people have clicked your links? Or how many people have responded to your questions? Or how many people have been watching your stories? And this way you can see what works and what doesn't work and think that why did this work? Oh, there was such a good question for the people, and or this was a really good picture and people really seemed to like it, or here were people in this picture, of course the people were more interested about this. Or then the success could be about how you wrote your update. So always kind of give feedback to from both good and bad, and don't be too harsh to yourself, because the things that didn't work that well, they help you make better results later. And when you have done the analyzing, after that you can go to the measuring. The analyzing is about the content. The measuring is about checking out if you have if you have reached the goals that you set in the beginning. So remember to measure the right things and find the right indicators. So as we go the whole circle around, so the last thing is to think, what was our goal? What did we want to find? What were the profits we want to reach? And with what indicators, we can show that we have achieved these goals? So these 3 questions help you to find the measurement points, and at the end indicators to see if we have managed. And the example what we had here is here. If we wanted to make our target group known about our new online shop and make people buy. So then we can check out how many visits we increased to our online shop, how much the peak went up when we started to do social media marketing. How much people spend time in online shops. That we get the information, for example, Google Analytics or other analytics tool on the web page. Then we can keep on buying. Did people buy? We see how many products people have been shopping. And also, as we have produced a feedback form to the people there, we see what kind of feedback we get. So create the indicators and remember that they might be somewhere else than on social media. So analytics helps us to do the social media analytics, gives us information about how our content works, and the other analytic tools somewhere else gives us the numbers, what are showing if our goals have been reached. So that way you can try to see whether you have managed with your goals or not. And if not, we are in the last set of this whole presentation. Develop from the results that you have seen. And this way you have the plan that goes on and on all the time. And as you are creating social media strategy, remember that it's ever changing, a strategy that you can change bit by bit all the time. And as you see what is going on with your social media, you can use that information to all the time to develop your content, pick up new challenge or new challenge channels, or try to do new content ways to reach your target groups. So this way we have gone through the social media strategy circle and pretty much the whole social media pushed in 1.5 hours. And I'm checking out the chat and there doesn't seem to be any questions, but if you wish, you can still ask something if there is something in your mind.
You may raise your hand if you wish to speak out loud and ask any questions, or you can write your question in the chat box.
And if there's nothing special at this point, I'm thanking you for joining, and also thanking all everyone who is checking out the recording. Let's be in touch. You find me from social media. From Twitter, I'm Piritta, and other channels mostly Viestintä Piritta. But so if you have any further questions, you can always ask me in social media. According to my social media strategy plan, I'm trying to answer the questions in 24 hours, if possible. So this way, thank you all, and I wish you very good time, the December, and very good Christmas when it comes, and stay safe and healthy. Let's hope for best next year for all of us.
Thank you, Piritta. Stay safe and Merry Christmas. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.